Your shrimp colony sucks and it's your fault, but it's all good. I'm here to tell you why. I'm gonna give you 5 uncommon reasons why your shrimp colony is not growing and how you can fix it. Quality looks good, everything on the surface seems to be going good. Here's the number 1 reason why your shrimp colony might not be growing, and that is micro predators. These are things like planaria or hydra, but they are small, easy to miss organisms that feed off your baby shrimplets. Look for tiny little white worms, or they almost look like tiny little squids, but these micropredators will eat the baby shrimp. The good news is there's a solution to this, and it's pretty straightforward. You can get what's called no planaria and a couple of doses, and this usually does the trick, but this is a very common reason that you are not seeing your baby shrimp grow. All right, reason number 2 why your shrimp colony sucks and how you're gonna get better at it is too many floating plants. I think this is an uncommon one because a lot of people think that floating plants are good for your aquarium because they consume the bad nutrients, which is true. But when it comes to shrimp, what they feed off of is the biofilm, and a lot of times that forms on the hardscapes and the sides of the glass. And these floating plants can block your light from providing the nutrients that biofilm needs to grow. And yes, I know there's gonna be some people who might say in the comments that floating plants also have biofilm on their roots, and you'll see a lot of your shrimp up there grazing on the floating roots of your plants. And that might be true, and I'm okay with being wrong, but this is just something I've observed in my tanks, so I try to keep some floating plants in there, but I like to try to keep it to a minimum. All right, reason number 3, are you underfeeding your shrimp? Now this kind of goes in hand with number 2, with the floating plants, but your shrimp do feed off of the natural biofilm of your tank. That is true. And when I first got into this hobby, there were some sources I found that said that you want to be careful about putting too much nutrients in your food, and you don't want to over pollute the water. And that's true as well. So there's definitely a balance here that needs to be found, but you cannot be relying on the biofilm to feed your shrimp solely. You need to supplement that in some way. Me, I like to use a sinking pellet. This one I'm using right now, I'll show you. I don't know if this is being caught on the video, but it's the Imaginarium planted shrimp. My shrimp all seem to like this, both the Neos and the Caradinas, so I think this is a good option. I also like to just put some bloodworms in there occasionally and boil some cucumber and put that in there as well. When you boil it, it just helps remove that water and allows it to sink so it's not floating at the top of your tank. But making sure you're providing enough food for your colony to grow is very important. Number 4, this also is going to piggyback off of number 3. Are you having competition for your food? Now, a lot of people who have been keeping shrimp and trying to grow their shrimp colonies know that generally fish are not safe to keep with your shrimp. I, like probably most of you, have tried to keep some fish, plecos, or other algae eaters. Ultimately, have just come to the conclusion, if you are really trying to grow your shrimp colony, if you're trying to profit from it, or you just really enjoy having a lot of shrimp, the best thing you can do is have a shrimp-only tank. For some people, they might think that's boring. For me, I really like to see the colony grow. It's a lot of fun to see like hundreds of shrimp in your tank, but it's important that the competition is removed. Now, the competition can be more than just fish. Competition can be snails. I've noticed that a lot of my ramshorn snails and my bladder snails have really run crazy in my shrimp tanks because of how I feed them. But as a result, they really consume a lot of that excess nutrients that I was just talking about that those baby shrimp really need. When those shrimp are first born, they don't move around a whole lot, so they're just eating the food that is like readily available to them. So you need to make sure that you are removing, like you don't have too many snails in there. Another thing that happens is the adult shrimp. They're much more mobile. They're moving around the tank a lot more. They're consuming a lot more food because they're bigger. So you need to make sure that you are keeping your shrimp colony to a reasonable size. So whether that means you set up a separate tank and you start a separate colony, a second colony going, or if you are selling some on eBay or online or to local fish stores, making sure that you are not having too many shrimp in your tank. Reason number 5, and this is the last reason This is another uncommon thing that I don't think I've seen mentioned in a lot of shrimp videos, but when you're keeping shrimp, especially your Caradinas, one of the things you want to look out for is hardscape that you have in your tanks. I made the mistake of keeping rocks with some plants I attached into my tanks, and I was growing the plants in there. But with the Caradinas, you need that low pH, and you need to make sure that the minerals in that water are helping buffer that pH so it stays stable for your shrimp. If you have assorted rocks in there, you don't even really know what kind of rocks in there, they might be leaking minerals into that water. Specifically KH is the one you want to watch out for. Now the good news is you can go ahead and get a KH tester, a GH tester, and kind of see where your water quality is at, but the best move in my opinion is just to remove all rocks and hardscape. I like to keep to a minimum. I like to have some driftwood in there and have some like leaf litter in there to help lower that pH as well and give more biofilm for the shrimp. But you want to make sure that with your hardscape you are being selective in what you put in your tanks. All right, if you actually watched the entirety of this low quality, low audio video, I want to say thank you. I am trying to grow this channel, and I really want to find a way to make this a bigger part of my life. If maybe some way I can make this a full-time job, but if you're one of the, I'm gonna guess 18 people that end up watching this video, thank you, and send it to your grandma, send it to your mom, send it to your boss, send it to your unborn child, and send it to your dog for me. Thank you.